Okay, let's dive into this. We are looking at an absolutely monumental shift today, one that completely challenges the traditional university to desk job promise we were all sold growing up. You know the drill, right? Go to a good university, learn a solid technical skill, secure a comfortable desk job, and boom, your financial security is guaranteed until you retire. Well, as we step rapidly into the age of automation, that promise is fundamentally breaking down. In this explainer, we're going to map out exactly why the rules of wealth are changing so fast, and more importantly, what the data says we should actually do about it.
So, what happens when a technology automates the mind? Think about that for a second. It's kind of a chilling question, isn't it? But it serves as our cold open hook into what is, frankly, an unprecedented economic era. We're not just talking about a slight recession here or some temporary dip in corporate hiring. What we're witnessing is the middle class being systematically hollowed out right before our eyes. That comfortable center of the global economy is vanishing because we're being forced to answer this exact question in real time.
To really understand exactly where we are right now, we have to look at how human labor has evolved. I mean, we've always had to adapt to new tools, right? Back in the 1800s, the steam engine arrived and replaced pure muscle power. So humans adapted and shifted to using their minds. In the 1900s, computers came along and replaced manual ledgers, which actually ended up creating millions of those digital desk jobs. But today's era, it's entirely different. Artificial intelligence is literally the first technology in human history to automate the mind itself. And the scariest part? It's doing so at an exponential speed. I really want to emphasize this point because it's absolutely crucial. This is not some futuristic, sci-fi crisis for our grandchildren to deal with. This is a structural redesign of the global workforce, and it is happening right now. Traditional white-collar professions, software engineering, financial analysis, legal drafting, digital marketing, they are disappearing. And they aren't slowly fading away over decades. They are vanishing in a matter of months. Let's move to and see how this builds across the corporate landscape. We can basically break this massive shift into three distinct waves. The first one hit the creative and content sectors. Almost overnight, basic copywriting and graphic design became practically free. A single marketer using AI could suddenly do the work of a whole agency. Now we're right in the middle of the second wave, which is actively hitting analytics and coding. Junior programmers, database managers, tax consultants, they're all being replaced by automated agents. And then there's the impending third wave, which is coming straight for strategy and management. When you follow that logic to its natural conclusion, the reality is pretty stark. The traditional corporate ladder is going to completely collapse. From a purely clinical, analytical standpoint, the system simply no longer needs this massive army of middle managers to coordinate information. It's incredibly efficient now. A modern company really only requires three things: the digital infrastructure, the optimized algorithms running the tasks, and the asset owners sitting at the very top. Those middle rungs of the ladder, they're simply gone. To understand why this is happening so fast, we have to look at the core economic math driving it all, which is the marginal cost of replication. Think about it. Once you train an AI system to perform a corporate task, cloning that system to do the work of 10,000 human beings costs almost nothing. Zero. This isn't just some cool tech feature. It's a structural economic earthquake. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why the old ways of doing business are basically finished. Traditionally, if you wanted to scale up, you had to hire more people, rent more office space, pay out more benefits. Scalability was directly tied to human labor hours. But the AI-native business model completely destroys that dynamic. Now, scalability equals algorithm execution times zero marginal cost. AI completely severs the link between growing a business and hiring more humans. Because of that cold, hard math, we're left with this brutal reality. You cannot win a price war against a software script. If your primary source of income is selling your hours to process information, you are competing against an infinite machine that replicates your exact skill set for fractions of a cent. You will lose that war. And as a result, the wealth generated by these massive global industries is no longer being distributed across a large labor force. It's consolidating incredibly rapidly into the hands of a few centimillionaires. Economists actually have a term for this phenomenon. They call it skill bifurcation, or, to put it a bit more bluntly, the death of the average. You know, in the old economy we all grew up in, being an average, competent corporate employee was incredibly safe. It bought you a house, a car, a vacation every year. Today, that middle is being completely erased. The market is aggressively splitting into two extreme ends: low-cost, commodity labor on one side and elite asset owners on the other.
So, the crucial point is grasping the stark contrast between these two groups. On one side, we have commodity labor, focusing on predictable, repetitive tasks. They're forced to compete on a global hourly price and suffer from stagnant wages. Essentially, if a task you do can be clearly explained to an AI in a 3-paragraph prompt, your work is a commodity. But on the flip side, we have the sovereign operators. They focus on orchestration, they own the algorithms and the brands, and the outcome for them is exponential wealth accumulation.
Now, you might be sitting there wondering, well, what is even left for us? Honestly, it's a fair question. Here are the specific human skills that still retain immense value. Hyper-complex problem solving that AI just can't untangle yet. High-level strategic orchestration, which is essentially managing the AI. Genuine emotional relationships, because empathy simply cannot be coded. And finally, ownership of physical infrastructure. If your daily work doesn't fall into one of these categories, it's really time to pivot. Being average is no longer a safety zone, it is a direct target for automation. But hey, hidden right inside this massive, daunting shift is an absolutely incredible opportunity for wealth creation. Infinite leverage. This is the pivot. This is exactly how the source material suggests positioning yourself on the winning side of this transition rather than just getting swept away by the tide. Think about this for a second. 2 decades ago, if you wanted to build a global company, you needed millions in venture capital just to get past the barrier to entry, hiring developers, renting servers, building out huge sales teams. Today, we have what's called the automated corporate stack. The barrier to entry is essentially zero. AI agents can handle 90% of your development. Digital channels distribute your product to millions instantly for free. Automated workflows seamlessly manage your customer support. One single person can now literally outproduce an entire factory. Which leads us to this absolutely mind-bending realization. You no longer need to manage humans to have power. You just need to manage code and media. This is what the experts call developing a wealth brain. When you develop a wealth brain, you realize that code is basically a digital army. It's an incredibly loyal army that executes your vision flawlessly, works 24 hours a day, never takes a vacation, and never requires a paycheck. So how do we actually adapt to this? The research points to a very strict framework, the Wealth Brain Future-Proof Blueprint. Let's break down exactly how this transition from vulnerable middle class to sovereign operator actually works so we can ensure that you're the one holding the leverage rather than the one being replaced by it. All right, here are the 3 steps you need to take right now. Step 1, move up the stack. You have to stop practicing the minor mechanics of your skill. If you're a coder, stop just writing lines of code. Use AI to architect entire systems. If you're a writer, you need to become a high-level strategic director. Step 2, build permissionless leverage through media and intellectual property. And step 3, own productive AI-proof equity. Let's look a bit closer at those last 2 steps because that is where the real magic happens. Now, what's really interesting about this concept is how it highlights our unique human advantage. An audience that trusts you is an appreciating asset that no software update can ever automate away. Think about that. Algorithms can write code, they can generate beautiful images, they can analyze massive spreadsheets in seconds, but an algorithm absolutely cannot replicate an authentic human relationship. It cannot replicate a unique, trusted brand identity. Your reputation and your audience are your ultimate moat. And then we reach the final piece of the puzzle. Once you build that leverage and start generating capital, you must throw that capital into hard assets or businesses that use AI to completely crush their competition. We're talking real estate, unique physical supply chains, proprietary data networks. You want to be the asset owner. You want to be the one who collects the dividends of automation rather than the worker sitting at their desk living in constant fear of it. I want to leave you with this really powerful final thought as we wrap up this explainer. The future doesn't care about your past credentials. It only cares about your current leverage. Honestly, nobody cares where you went to university or how many years you spent climbing a corporate ladder that basically no longer exists. You have a choice to make right now. You can look at this incredible economic transition with fear and just wish things would stay the same, or you can claim your sovereignty and pick up the tools of infinite leverage. So I really have to ask you, is your current career safe from the AI wave? I want you to really look at what you do every single day, compare it to that 3-paragraph prompt rule we talked about, and ask yourself that question honestly. I hope this explainer has given you the clarity and the structure you need to evaluate your path forward. Take these insights, start building your leverage, and make sure you end up on the right side of the divide. Keep learning, keep adapting, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.